The words from the man's mouth lacked a hint of respect. He believed that playing chess with a woman was a waste of time, even thinking that combing his hair was more meaningful than playing chess. With each move, he would take the opportunity to comb his hair. This lack of respect annoyed Bess. Bess warned, "Then let me show you what it means to be crushed." Before the start of the semifinals, 15-year-old Bess found himself encountering a kind girl who helped him out of a tight spot. Despite having just lost to Bess, the girl still said as they parted ways, "Easy, that strange hair-combing guy from Ningxia isn't a big deal at all." Upon returning home, Bess discovered that his foster father and foster mother had divorced, or more accurately, his foster father had abandoned his foster mother. However, his foster mother had no intention of sending Bess back to the orphanage. She believed she could learn to be a good mother. Bess felt fortunate. At least he had another mother now. When it came to the final, Bess happened to be waiting for his first opponent. An hour had passed since the appointed time, yet his opponent still hadn't arrived. Was this master going to forfeit? Even before the match began, the master's unruliness and arrogance were unsettling. He waved his coffee cup as if it were his scepter, adopting a gentlemanly posture, but was an hour late. Everyone was waiting for him, yet he seemed to have never heard of the word waiting before. Bess couldn't help but furrow his brow as he watched the master yawning, revealing a set of uneven teeth, feeling deeply insulted. But as an excellent writer, she knew she couldn't be influenced by her opponent's behavior. Regardless, she was determined to defeat this arrogant and ignorant master. "This guy seems like he's never taken anything seriously in his life," murmured Bess under her breath. However, as the match began, Bess realized the master was unlike any opponent she had faced before. He could keep up with her strategies, even gaining the upper hand from the start, all while continuously yawning. The master responded nonchalantly, "Opponent? I could easily defeat this little girl within half an hour." And every time Bess planned her next move, he would smirk contemptuously, as if conveying a sense of "I've seen through your little tricks long ago." Is he still yawning? Doesn't he realize this is an important match? Bess frowned. Bess smirked disdainfully. "Don't underestimate me, master. Writers aren't that easy to knock down." The master grinned even more smugly. "Given your confidence, I'll let you witness my prowess." The master yawned disdainfully. "What are these little tricks? Watch how I effortlessly defeat you." The atmosphere on the field became increasingly tense, with the audience discussing fervently. One confident spectator remarked, "The master defeating Bess is the result this match deserves." Another spectator added mockingly, "At least this way, our defeat won't be so embarrassing." The people around were secretly rooting for the master, believing that his victory over Bess was the rightful outcome of the match. These pitiful men felt that only the master defeating Bess could slightly redeem their dismal failure, making their defeat seem less pathetic. "It's ridiculous. They think the master can take down Bess. It's just wishful thinking." Bess shook her head incredulously. Feeling the pressure mounting, Bess was on the verge of tears. She hurriedly dashed into the restroom, swallowing a green capsule to quickly compose herself. Returning to the field, she whispered to herself, "Come on, you will creep into trash." Back at his seat, his transformation was striking. Once easily distracted by his opponent's disruptions, he now exuded calm confidence. No longer easily swayed, no longer having his thoughts interrupted. He walked with determined steps, pushing the master into a corner. Sitting in his seat, he seemed rejuvenated, enveloped in a powerful aura. The advantages his opponent once held were now non-existent, replaced by his own formidable presence. The master persisted tenaciously, believing he could find a breakthrough. Yet, he couldn't help but lament that if only he had arrived on time, perhaps the situation could still be balanced. But now, the positions had completely reversed. An hour late, "It seems I missed a chance for a possible draw," the master sighed helplessly. His opponent smiled, a hint of provocation in their eyes. "But now, our situation is entirely different." The master's gaze turned panicked, sensing an unprecedented pressure. In this moment, an unavoidable sense of crisis pervaded. Or perhaps we end this on the chessboard? The opponent suggested, a hint of disdain in their tone. The master fell silent, his eyes betraying hesitation. Ultimately, he chose to concede. This battle made Beth a sensation overnight, also earning his foster mother $100. In this astonishing match, he showcased exceptional chess skills and unwavering determination. On a sunny morning, Beth excitedly planned his day ahead. He could finally buy the chess set he had been dreaming of. The thought thrilled him. He decided to also buy a fashionable dress, adding a new layer of confidence. Just as he envisioned the upcoming pleasant time, his foster mother's call interrupted him, bringing a business opportunity. Reluctantly, he knew he had to deal with it first. "Hey, Beth, there's an opportunity. I need your help," his foster mother said hastily. Beth silently pondered his own plans, but answered with a smile, "Sure, Mom. I'll be right there." He aimed for a $500 chess match, not only a challenge, but also an opportunity, a chance to showcase his chess skills. He decided to give it his all. Meanwhile, school wasn't his priority for the day, but sometimes Beth would reminisce about his biological mother, a time that seemed so bleak. His thoughts were interrupted as he thought of his mom. "Beth, do you have a moment? I need to talk to you." His foster mother's voice suddenly broke his reverie. "Of course, Mom," Beth replied, feeling a twinge of unease. Beth vividly remembered the heart-wrenching scene, his mom taking off her clothes and diving into the lake, swimming farther and farther, while Beth was consumed with fear. She didn't resurface, and tears welled up in Beth's eyes as he continuously asked himself, "What do I do? Why isn't she coming up?" The wait seemed endlessly long, but eventually his mom emerged, and Beth broke into a smile. Yet, despite that, his mom ultimately abandoned him. Now, with a new mom, to avoid being abandoned again, Beth was willing to do anything. Yangmu and Basie came to Cincinnati to participate in a chess competition and chose a very comfortable hotel as their place to stay. "This hotel is really great, Yangmu," Bess exclaimed, looking around. "Yeah, it's a nice choice indeed," Yangmu nodded with a smile. After registering for the competition, while wandering around the hotel, Bess suddenly noticed a man wearing a pirate hat observing a chessboard. "Hello, this is an interesting endgame. Do you need any help?" Bess politely asked. The man turned around, revealing a slight smile. "Oh, you're here for the competition, right?" "I'm Benny," he introduced himself. "Yes, I'm Bess, and this is my friend Yangmu," Bess replied. Benny smiled and said, "Looks like you both are chess enthusiasts. If you're willing, I can share some tips with you." Bess nodded, and Yangmu also agreed. Benny set up an intricate endgame, and although Bess carefully observed for a while, he couldn't find a solution. "It's indeed a challenge." "Thank you for your guidance, Mr. Benny," Bess said somewhat helplessly. "You're welcome, young man. Play more chess, think more, and your skills will naturally improve," Benny encouraged. As the competition progressed, Bess performed exceptionally well, not losing a single game. But he felt uneasy inside. Back in their room, Bess wanted to review his games from the competition, but Yangmu kept watching TV and giggling incessantly. "Yangmu, could you please be a bit quieter? I want to focus on reviewing the games," Bess said impatiently. Yangmu stopped laughing and said softly, "Sorry, I didn't realize. Come on, let's review them together." The next day's competition was a breeze, and Yangmu witnessed Bess's game for the first time, finding it even more impressive than expected. "Wow, you're really amazing," Yangmu exclaimed excitedly. Bess smiled, inwardly grateful for Yangmu's support. However, no matter how brilliant the games were, Bess couldn't compare to those young guys in Yangmu's eyes. "Mama, how do you think my games went?" Bess asked somewhat worriedly. Yangmu thought for a moment and then said, "The games were indeed exciting, but chess just doesn't look as good as those young lads." Bess smiled wryly. In the following matches, Bess faced Rudolph, a grandmaster, and Tom, his manager. To Bess, all the grandmasters seemed unworthy of the title, and Tom appeared to only care about profits. Perhaps you could give me a 10% commission as your manager's fee, Tom suggested to Bess. Bess lowered his head but decided to give 15%. That's great, Bess. We're going to success together, Tom exclaimed excitedly. Bess nodded, but he felt hesitant inside. Tom took Bess around the country, staying in the finest hotels. Gradually, with Bess's consecutive victories in competitions, his fame skyrocketed. One day, a seemingly astute female journalist approached him for an interview. Bess knew she would ask about his childhood. This journalist always tried to delve into Bess's past tragedies, attempting to link his exceptional skills with his inner struggles. Journalist: Hello, Bess. I'm very curious about your achievements, but I'm more interested in your past. How much did your childhood influence you? Bess smiled, although he was tired of this topic long ago. Bess: My past is my past, Miss Journalist. I prefer to focus on the present and the future. My love for chess stems from the pursuit of wisdom and strategy, not the pain of the past. Journalist: But your achievements are deeply connected to your childhood experiences. Don't you think they had an impact on your spiritual growth? Bess: Perhaps, but I choose to focus on my games. I believe everyone has their own story, and I'd rather prove myself through my actions than let the past define me. Although subsequent reports didn't overly dramatize it, the implication between the lines emphasized Bess's uniqueness as a girl in the chess world. Bess was well aware of the challenges of being a woman in this male-dominated field, but he preferred recognition for his chess skills, not his gender. Bess had tried to fit into girls' worlds, attending apple pie girls' parties. However, he found an insurmountable gap between him and them. He preferred to focus his energy on the chessboard rather than in a crowd of dancers. The following year, Bess participated in the U.S. Open again. In the hotel, he coincidentally met the gentleman, who was both a chess player and a journalist. This time, he decided to accept the gentleman's interview. The two arrived at Thons's house. Parnes looked at Thons, smiling, and said, "This is such a great place for taking photos." Thons smiled back and replied, "Yes, I also think the atmosphere here is perfect for photography." As they got closer under the pretense of taking photos, the air gradually became ambiguous, but just then, Parnes's colleague walked in, interrupting everything. Parnes apologized sheepishly, saying, "Sorry, he's a bit rude." Thons smiled and said, "It's okay. I understand." Parnes and his colleague left the room, while Bess encountered the national chess champion, Benny. At a glance, Benny noticed a fatal error in Bess's previous game. His opponent hadn't noticed it at the time, and what was terrifying was that without Benny's reminder, Bess wouldn't have noticed it at all. He used to feel immensely proud when he spotted others' mistakes, but now being the one caught felt utterly dreadful. The next day was the finals against Benny. Before the game started, Bess took a green pill, envisioning multiple opening moves, but Benny remained remarkably composed, as if he needed no preparation at all. Bess thought Benny could see through all his plans, could hear his heartbeat, until he found himself consumed by panic. But after the match, Bess told his foster mother he was leaving. "I wanted him to leave," his wife said. "Before the finals, I was promoted to the highest level. Benny won one and drew one, so as long as there was a draw, I could win. But I wanted to beat him. I wanted to hit him where it hurt. Tell that damn pirate I could win. I didn't play as he expected, but with a protected pawn on the board, the situation gradually worsened. The king couldn't escape, and I was caught off guard. It was too cruel. It was something I did to others before, now happening to me." Bess needed to counterattack, desperately searching for a move that could stop Benny, but couldn't find it. He didn't move a piece for half an hour, only to discover Benny's move. Fantastic. Bess kept retreating, Benny kept advancing, and Bess surrendered. Maybe the outcome was decided the moment Bess couldn't break through Benny's endgame. His foster mother didn't understand chess, She only knew the prize money would rank Bess as a co-champion, and that co-champion title felt too hollow. Only Bess knew deep down that he had lost completely. After that, Bess embarked on his first adventure with the college student he met in Russian class. He had a great time, realizing that chess wasn't the only thing in life. In the college student's room, he drank a lot of alcohol, marking his transition into adulthood with high school graduation and finally taking off the hat of the chess prodigy. He would encounter Benny again, and even stronger opponents than Benny. How would Bess fare against them in battle?